New episode of Crunch Time starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi everybody, and welcome into the newest episode of Crunch Time. As always, I am joined in the booth with Hard Hittin' Hayden. Hayden, how's it hanging?
I'm back, ready to be back, and we're ready for a new fun topic and new topics today.
All right, well, before we get into the new topics, let's dive back into our old school bread and butter, and let's talk about everybody's favorite football league, the NFL. Currently in the NFL, we are just about 3 weeks through. We are recording this Monday around 4 o'clock, so the Monday night game has not been played yet, but we will talk about all the rest of the games up until then. The game that still has not to be played is Jacksonville versus the Bengals. Just real quick, who do you have there, Hayden?
I have the Bengals winning this one because, I don't know, I feel like Trevor Lawrence has like one good season where he made the playoffs run, and not all, but the Bengals, Joe Burrow, he almost won against the Chiefs, but the refs made a brutal call. That's in my opinion. Yeah, so I do think the Bengals is going to win this game.
I got to side with you. I do like Joe Shiesty and Jamar Chase tonight playing against Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's defense is not as strong as it's been in the past. I've never been on the Trevor Lawrence bandwagon. I know this is coming from a guy sitting in a chair having nothing to do with the NFL, but I am not a Trevor Lawrence fan. So that's the game we got tonight. What conference should we talk? What conference? AFC or NFC? What should we start with?
I feel like we should, since we start with the AL last crunch time, so let's do the AFC this time.
All right, AFC. The conference I'm going to talk about in the AFC is the AFC North. So coming out of the AFC North, Pittsburgh's currently on top, 3-0, and they are undefeated. Now, this is not a undefeated team as in the 2007 Patriots where they're rolling over everybody.
Or the Broncos where they had their undefeated run, but they eventually lost.
True. This Steelers team has had their troubles at quarterback. They've had their troubles just about everywhere except for defense and kicker, it seems like. They won their first game of the year without scoring a touchdown. They finally score a touchdown in the second game of the year when they start Justin Fields instead of Russell Wilson.
I do think Justin's their quarterback, not Russell, though.
I do like Justin Fields. I just want to see more out of him. And this is coming as somebody who is a Bears fan and watching him play for years on the Bears. I just still want to see more out of him. I know he has the potential to be a good quarterback. I just got to see more out of him before I can really believe in him. Looking at the rest of the field, the Ravens are 1-2. Now, they started the year 0-2, and then they just whooped up on the Cowboys last night. The Ravens are a team that a lot of people already have penciled in to make the playoffs and make a playoff push. And they're starting the season 1-2. That's a hard pill to swallow, but looking at their points scored versus points allowed, they've only allowed 78 points, and they've only scored 71 points, which sounds like they've all been close games, but when you take a look at last night's Cowboys game, they won by about 30 points against the Cowboys. So you got to think to yourself, okay, a couple of those games were blowouts. You look at the Browns, and I'll be the first to tell you, I am a huge Myles Garrett fan. Since Aaron Donald retired, Aaron Donald was by far one of the best defensive players in the league for the whole 10 years he played. But I will say Myles Garrett is my current favorite defensive player. He's professional, good at his job, and I mean he's just a freak of nature on the defensive side of the ball. Then rounding out the AFC North, the Bengals playing tonight, as we mentioned. They're 0-2 currently. This is another team a lot of people had high hopes for, and currently they're just not putting the pieces together. I don't know if Joe Burr has to dye his hair back to its natural color and get rid of the Cody Rhodes kind of hairdo, or what has to happen.
I hate that hairdo. He needs to stick with his original one. the good thing is he's not injured, and they have to have Jake Browning as their quarterback.
So that is my AFC division I'm going to cover. What AFC division would you like to cover, Hard Hittin?
Let's go AFC West. Another undefeated team, the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously. And then we had the Chargers at 2-1, and the Broncos at 1-2, and the Raiders at 1-2.
All right, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty close division. There's not a team really extending a lead over anybody else, but it is still just week 3, so a lot of these teams are close. I know you definitely have some strong feelings about a couple of those Chiefs wins.
Mm-hmm. When losing to them beating the Bengals, I wasn't happy. I was rooting for the Bengals. That last night of them beating the Atlanta, I was happy because I'm a Bucs fan and I don't like Atlanta.
Absolutely. Let's switch over to the NFC, where everybody knows that's where real football is played.
Yes.
And I'm going to tackle my team's division. I'm going to go with the NFC North. Now, the NFC North, the Vikings are currently leading. They are 3-0, and they have scored 85 points, only allowing 30 points, which means in 3 games, they have outscored their opponents by 55 points. Did I think it was going to be the Vikings' year to win the division? Absolutely not. I expected the Vikings to be down at the bottom with my Bears. And I know as a Bears fan, it's kind of hard to say that, but it's the truth. I was expecting the Lions to come out and pretty much take the division handedly. Now, the Lions at 2-1, they still have a very good chance to do it.
Yep.
The Packers, as a Bears fan, it's hard for me to talk well about the Packers, but I will say Jordan Love's injury definitely threw the Packers through a loop. Malik Willis as their quarterback has not been doing too bad. He was pretty solid when he played for Liberty out there in Lynchburg, but I mean, they definitely have some things to figure out and consider before moving forward. And at the bottom is the Bears. The Bears went all in at Caleb Williams for their first overall pick.
Yep.
Can't really say it's working out the best right now, but he also still is a rookie quarterback. Regardless of where you get drafted, a rookie quarterback is a rookie quarterback.
Kind of like Bryce Young. He was bad and he did pretty well in the preseason, but now but Bryce Young's doing well in the preseason, but.
And then which division you want to tackle there, Hard Hittin?
I'm doing my favorite team's division, NFC South. This one's hard to swallow, but in first place, the Saints, 2-1. The Buccaneers, my favorite team, are 2-1 as well. In second place, the Falcons, 1-2. 1-2, if I'm correct. Yep, 1-2. Losing to the Chiefs and the Panthers, 1-2 as well. This can go either way for this division. It's a bad division. Only one team can make the playoffs in this division.
And I mean, sorry.
And apparently in this division, only one of these teams can make the playoffs.
So I've talked to a couple of the other Crunch Time members prior. Mad Max, still talk to him, and then Garrett Tipton, GT Media, who used to be on Crunch Time, huge Bucks fan. He's from Florida.
Yes.
Huge Bucks fan. I was talking to him about it. Is Baker Mayfield in-between quarterback, or is he a franchise quarterback? And him and I both pretty much agreed that Baker Mayfield started off in Tampa Bay as maybe an in-between quarterback, but has just performed and balled out to the point where he could be a career quarterback for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, coming off with the Browns, the Panthers, and the Rams, bad, but coming here, I think he found his team. He has weapons. He has Mike Evans. Chris Godwin against Indianapolis had a good game. Yeah, I just think, Baker's the franchise.
All right, and then speaking of football, we're going to transition from NFL football to something a bit more local and regional to us here in Northern Illinois. North Boone Junior Tackle Middleweights. Hard Hittin' Hayden, you are if I remember correctly, you are a starter on the defense. You're a middle linebacker.
And I believe I'm also
and you're the left tackle on the O-line.
Yep.
And so for those of you at home who don't necessarily know who hard-hitting Hayden is not the size of Kruck. He's a little bit smaller, but he still plays O-line. And kind of walk me through how you developed and how you decided or became good at O-line.
My dad was an O-lineman for Hananiga, and he didn't start much, but he knew how to block, and with you help coaching, I became good at blocking. I blocked one of the strongest kids on my team, and someone who was undefeated at blocking in like a weird game that you did at practice once. I almost won against him.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely still a fundamental league, learning how to play the game, but we've actually been doing pretty well as a team. So Hayden, one of our star players, and then I've been roped into coaching. We've scored 2 more touchdowns this year than we did the last 3 years combined. Won more games. I mean, like this team, it's got some bright future spots. Defensively, like, I don't know what it is. Defensively, you just have a nose for the football. I told your dad after the first practice, because he's also one of the coaches, I don't know what it is, but every time they run the ball or pass the ball, you are somehow either in the tackle or like about to make the tackle. It's a natural thing that you have, especially for this being your first year playing. It's something that'll carry you a long way if you decide to continue playing football.
And basically knows for football. On a fumble on the line, I've recovered the only fumble that we pretty much had on the line.
Yeah, so I mean, our offense started the year kind of running our wheels in the mud, if you will, tires in the mud. But we've started to put it back together, and we're moving the ball consistently. I think we probably had about 150 yards of offense. Our defense, under the leadership of Coach Kenny, we've made some adjustments, we've made some moves, and our defense is starting to play up. I like to see the way this is going in the future. I like the way the team's playing, and I think with team chemistry getting better, just players getting better throughout the year, I think we have a real good chance of making a good push this season.
Yeah, and the team probably is gonna break up soon, because at the end because we have a couple of our star players like me moving up to the heavyweight team. Didn't have a heavyweight team this year.
Yeah, so I mean, switching gears from a contact sport to a physical sport, we're going to switch it over to MLB, where we are getting dangerously close to the Major League Baseball postseason.
Woo!
And now in the postseason, there's only 2 teams that have clinched a divisional playoff spot. Can you name those 2 teams, Hayden?
I'm going to guess the Brewers and I won't call them the Indians, but I know they're not the Indians, the Guardians.
Yep. It's hard for me to make that correction after so long of calling them by that name, but they have changed their name. I know you're a Yankees fan. Your Yankees team, they have to win a couple more games against Baltimore, and I believe then that will be officially clinched the division. But right now, they just have a wild card guaranteed. And looking at the top teams in the AL, we have the Yankees in the East, the Guardians in the Central, and the Astros in the West. Which one of those 3 teams did you not expect to win their division at the start of the year?
Personally, after seeing the Yankees beat the Astros, I did not expect that. I expected the Astros to move into first place. I expected them to stay in first place, even though I did see them like coming in at second or first. But I did not expect the Guardians to do this well.
No, the Central Division was always going to be a toss-up for me. Looking at the teams in there, you have the White Sox. You have the you have the White Sox, the Twins, the Royals, the Tigers, and the Guardians. That division was always a toss-up. Being down in Kansas City for 4 years, you could say I had favoritism towards the Royals, but I still wasn't strong on the Royals. I knew the White Sox, they were going to have a rough season. I didn't think they would have this rough of a season, but I knew it was going to be a tough stretch. But the team that I honestly and personally, I did not see the Yankees getting the division. Now, they haven't clinched it yet, but I've been an Adley Rutschman fan since he was playing in Oregon State. Just always a huge fan of switch hitters as well as catchers, and he's a switch hitting catcher. I like him. Jackson Holiday, I'd like to see him grow a little bit more, but he has been playing well as of late. Gunnar Henderson, was not expecting him to go off this season, but he did.
Fun fact about Gunnar Henderson, he grew a mustache because that way people wouldn't think he's Jackson Holiday.
There you go. The more you know about the Orioles, right?
Yep.
But I was expecting the Orioles to take that division. But with the Yankees winning it, it's not a big surprise to me. The Yankees are a historied franchise. They're good at baseball. They've been consistently good at baseball. I don't think it's a big surprise or a shock necessarily.
I'm a little surprised that they're in first. I'm a little, even though I'm a Yankees fan, because Alex Verdugo dealing with his allergies to his tattoos, apparently, and I honestly did not expect him to survive through that and play well baseball now.
Now, looking at the wild card race, Baltimore Orioles have the top wild card spot. They have 4 games they can give up before they get dropped out. I think the Orioles are pretty much a safe bet. The Detroit Tigers and the Royals are currently tied for the second 2 of 3 spots in the wild card race. I don't think both of those teams will make it.
I originally thought the Tigers were going to win the division after starting off the season 7-0.
Yeah, the Tigers did start hot. They went a little cool, but looking at that race, I don't think the Red Sox are going to make that hard of a push.
I do think that they'll be up there for a good chance of a AL wild card, though.
That is true. I think the Rangers are pretty much said and done for.
Mm-hmm.
The Blue Jays, Athletics, they're pretty much good and gone. The Angels are done, and the White Sox obviously done. But the Twins and the Mariners are just 2 teams that, they're within 1 or 2 games of a wild card spot. I don't see them making that push, but I would not be surprised if they did.
I honestly think that the Tigers will hold second place and the Royals will fall down and the Twins gain third place for the AL wild card.
Absolutely. And then we flip over to the other side. The NL leaders, the Dodgers leading the West, Phillies are leading the East, and the Brewers are leading the Central. As a Brewers fan, we have the only clinch spot in the NL. Makes me feel happy, but at the same time, as a Brewers fan, I've seen what we've done in the past, and sometimes it's not that pretty. So, I'd like to hope for a little bit better this time around. The Phillies haven't clinched yet, but they do have a series coming up with the Chicago Cubs. If they can win a couple of those games, they should be able to clinch and shut the door on the New York Mets. And then looking at the Dodgers, I believe the Dodgers have to win 1 or 2 games against the Padres, and the division should pretty much be theirs. So looking at those 3 teams, which one of those 3 teams would you not expect to be on that list?
In my opinion, it's the Brewers. I originally seeing the Cubs draft Showtime and Naga. They have a good roster. They have Seiya Suzuki. They have Ian Happ, who's still good. They have a lot of good players, in my opinion. So I expected the Cubs to be up at number 1, but Brewers are playing amazing baseball.
Now, I agree with you that I did not expect the Brewers to have clinched the division or be at the top of their division. But at the beginning of the year, I was almost thinking the Cincinnati Reds would make a push. The Cincinnati Reds have the star talent. They had players.
Ellie.
And, I mean, it's just what happened, right? Like the same thing with the Cardinals. You have Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado. You have Wilson Contreras.
Yep.
And it's kind of just trying to figure out, okay, what is going on? You have star power. You have good players. What is going on? Why is it not working? Now, looking at the wild card, you have the Padres with 3 games to give up before they're out of the wild card. You have the Diamondbacks and the Mets, who are both tied. Who do you think in that wild card race, those top 3 in the wild card, who do you think is going to fall off?
The Mets. The Mets. That's the word. The Mets.
Spoken by a true New York fan right there. And you can tell which New York team you cheer for.
Yep.
Looking at that race for me, I would personally say I can see either the Diamondbacks or the Mets falling apart and then the Atlanta Braves coming in to take one of the spots. I don't see the Chicago Cubs moving up. The Chicago Cubs are 7 games back. I don't see them moving up to take a spot, but either the Mets or the Diamondbacks, I could see either of them falling off and kind of just falling off with their wheels. But since we're on the MLB topic, I don't want to know who you think is going to win the World Series.
But the 2?
But I want to know the 2 teams you think will be in the World Series.
Personally, I do think, starting off with the AL Championship, I think it's a rematch of 2022, the Yankees versus Houston, in my opinion. And I think the Yankees will win it and move on. And then I eventually see the Dodgers versus the Phillies. And I do see the Phillies finding a way to beat the Dodgers and Yankees versus Phillies. I know this is going to be close. I feel like the Yankees are going to take the first game, then the Phillies. I think the Yankees are going to then I do think the Yankees are going to take the 3rd game, 4th game, Phillies, and then I do think eventually see the Yankees win the whole entire thing.
So I will agree. I see the Yankees in the ALCS. I see it actually being the Yankees versus probably the Astros, just like you said. I think the Astros have lost too many key pieces to make it forward, so I do see the Yankees making their way to the World Series. Looking at the other side, this is where I will disagree with you. I think the Dodgers have currently the best team in baseball. And it's hard looking at it because they have the best outfield.
Mm-hmm.
They have the best first baseman.
Yep.
They have the best starting rotation, one of the best bullpens, and they have the best designated hitter. The Dodgers went out and spent more money than any other major sports team has ever spent in an offseason and created a baseball team that should be good for the next 4 to 5, maybe 6, 7 years.
10 years, because I believe Ohtani's there for 10 years.
That is true. Ohtani is there for 10 years, but I have the feeling his production value is going to fall off in 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
So I see the World Series being the Dodgers versus the Yankees. That's just what I see personally. I'm not going to say who I think wins, but I will say that would be a very well-played, hard-fought World Series. I don't think that's going to be a sweep or a 5-game series. But now we're going to move forward into our fun topic that we did discuss prior to getting going, and in much crunch time fashion, it is going to be somewhat sports related, but it's going to be a little bit fun and a little bit wacky. So, Hayden, go ahead and tell the fans at home what we decided on.
We are doing the NBA draft with superheroes.
Okay, and then what's the criteria?
So basically, I get the first pick, and we're gonna take back and forth, and we cannot have the same players on the same on different teams.
So, yeah, we're going to do a snake draft. No repeat players, and you're going to have to draft starting 5 and a 6-man. So, Hayden, go ahead and get it underway. Who are you drafting first, and at what position?
With the first overall pick, I will take Flash at point guard. I just think that if he gets the ball, he's going to dribble down the court as fast as he could, dunk.
Absolutely. For my point guard, I'm going to go ahead and take Spider-Man. Spider-Man's got the agility. He does have speed. He's able to sense things before they happen, so he'll be able to figure out which lanes and which bounce path, chest pass, whatever kind of options he has to use. And he's a very unselfish superhero, if you notice, too. He very much works in teams very well. That's why I'm going to take him at my point guard. For my second pick, bringing the snake back around, I am going to take Beast at my power forward. So Beast is the big blue hairy guy from X-Men. Very strong, very agile, very quick. He doesn't necessarily have the height that a lot of these superheroes do, but what he does have is that scrappiness. And I'm looking at him thinking of a giant blue hairy Dennis Rodman down at my 4 spot.
What I have my pick, I'm going with a guard here. You may be surprised, but I'm going Hulk. He can guard the hoop. He's tall, strong. I do think that he would be a good pick at guard.
And you got him at shooting guard, just a
normal guard. The normal guard.
Okay. All right, you get your next pick. Who are you coming back with?
Let's go ahead and go Batman.
You want Batman at your
Let's go shooting guard.
Hulk's already your shooting guard. You want me to move Hulk down?
No, let's go Batman at center then.
Okay. That's a good pick. I like Batman there. He works well on a team. For my shooting guard, I'm going to take the superhero of all superheroes. When you think of a superhero, you think of this guy.
Superman.
I'm taking Superman at my shooting guard. Superman has worked very well in a team. He can lead a team when he has to. He can step up. He can be the guy when they need a guy. And when you think of Michael Jordan, you think of Air Jordan. Well, what if I told you this guy always plays in the air because he can fly? Superman at my shooting guard. I'm going to move down to my center position now. My center position, this was a hard pick for me, but I am going to go with Ant-Man at my center. So Ant-Man is famously known for being able to shrink super small and get into places. But what most people don't know is he also has the ability to grow super tall. So when he reverses it, he can grow up to, I believe it is 30 feet tall. So when you're playing at 30 feet tall and the basketball hoop's only 10 feet tall, you should be able to get an open look no matter what. So I got...
You could probably have Spider-Man just jump using his spider webs to go on the ceiling and just hand the tiny ball to Ant-Man, and Ant-Man just walks.
I could. So who do you got at... You have both of your forward spots open still. Power forward and small forward.
I'm going to go for my small forward. I'm going to go ahead and choose Robin. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan duo with Batman and Robin.
Okay, that's respectable. Man, okay. And then you get one more pick to bring it back.
And I'm going to go ahead and choose Green Lantern.
Green Lantern at your 6-man or your power forward?
Let's go power forward.
Okay.
I do think he could, he can float and, stop stuff. I do think, if there's a pass, he could just stop it with his, whatever the power is, control it, dunk. So I do have him at power forward.
So looking at my team, I still have the small forward position open, which is considered one of the most versatile positions on the team. Looking at some of these players, looking at some of these superheroes, if you will, trying to figure out who I think is the most versatile, can play, 1 through 5, if you will. There is a big list because superheroes often have to have that range and that ability to play, 1 through 5. But I will say, and this is somewhat of a stretch, but I did ask the rules committee. Rules committee did give me the okay on it. I'm going to take Naruto at my small forward.
Who's Naruto?
Naruto is an anime superhero.
Oh, yes.
And, I mean, that man, he's built different. Does 1,000 push-ups every day. Always shows up to work with a great attitude. I mean, I believe it's his girlfriend actually makes homemade cinnamon toast crunch for the team on home games. Like, great person, great all around man. Just honestly, hats off to him. Coming back around for the snake draft, I will say, at my 6th man, I cannot believe this sleeper lasted this long, but at my 6th man, I'm going to take the Wolverine.
Oh.
So the reason I picked Wolverine at my 6th man. Once again, I need somebody who can play 1 through 5. And Wolverine, he's scrappy. He's a little undersized for basketball, but I will be honest, he can play 1 all the way through 5. He won't back down against anybody in the paint, and the only problem is he runs his mouth a little bit. Sometimes he gets in trouble. He talks a little too much smack, and we gotta manage that. But I think Wolverine at 6 man is a good pick.
And for my 6th man, and I'm also going to go coach after my 6th man. My 6th man is Deadpool. To be honest, I have Deadpool. He never dies, and I think that he would be a good pick. Like, you can have him on the bench, bring someone in. It's gonna be hard to stop him because he can never die.
Absolutely. And then go ahead. Who's your coach?
I have Megamind. I don't know if you want to count him a superhero. He has a big brain, so I do think that would help with the coaching.
Well, let's go ahead and ask our rules expert here. Where's our favor on Megamind?
It's good.
We got a thumbs up for Megamind as a coach. So, oh man, I didn't even think about who I wanted to have as a coach. Got it. I'm going to take the guy in the chair. Professor X is going to be my team's coach. Now, yes, I do get it. Us bald men have to stick together. For those of you who don't know, Kruck from Crunch Time is bald. But Professor X, aside from being bald and just looking handsome as ever like me, he's telepathic. So he can talk to my team without even having to get up or yell. He can just speak into their minds while they're playing. I think that would be an amazing ability for a coach to have. And, well, now that we have the time, we're just going to run through each team's order. So hard-hitting Hayden took Flash at point guard, Hulk at your shooting guard, Robin is your small forward, Green Lantern at your power forward, Batman down in the paint at center, Deadpool coming off the bench, all of them being coached by Megamind. Yep. Okay, that's a solid team. I like that team. I wish I'd have had a couple of those picks.
I got an idea for once you're done reading the names. What about our superhero inspector? See what team would win in a basketball game.
So, looking at my team, we have Spider-Man at point guard, Superman at your shooting guard. We have Naruto, small forward, the Beast at power forward. My 6th man is Wolverine. Oh, I forgot. Ant-Man down low at the center. And then Professor X as my coach. And you did bring up a good point. We should have our rules expert over here tally up the votes and just see who wins. So, Pillow, we're going to step away for a few minutes. Just go ahead and think about it. Who do you want to win? And we'll be right back in just a moment. Because he is a massive nerd. He loves superheroes almost as much as I do. He was begging to be a part of the podcast, so we just wanted to get him in. And if you can't tell from hard-hitting Hayden laughing, this is all just a lie. He was just somebody walking around, and we just grabbed him off the streets. So, rules expert Caleb Pillow, can you please read off your tallies and who won at each position?
All right. So coming first for point guards, I chose Spider-Man. Spider-Man's just all-around better player. Flash is all he's got for him is speed. Coming in at shooting guard, I chose Superman. The only thing Superman has got that's not going to work out for him is kryptonite, and Hulk is just not going to take out Superman. Sorry. So that's 2 for Kruck, none for Hayden right now. But coming from Robin, small forward, Robin is going over Naruto, whatever his name is.
Let's go!
Don't know much about Naruto, so I had to go with Robin. Sorry. Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
All day, man. Alright, coming in at power forwards, we got Green Lantern or Beast. Chose Beast. Sorry. Green Lantern, it's not it. Not all around there. Not really a sports kind of guy. Alright, centers, Batman or Ant-Man? I had to choose Ant-Man, I'm sorry. I had to. Ant-Man's got everything for him. He can go small, go between people's legs, get up high, dunk on everyone, doesn't even get blocked. Sorry. Alright, my sixth pick on the bench, Deadpool or Wolverine. Before I even tell you guys about this, you guys see the new Deadpool movie?
Oh, we
No.
did. We did.
Was it good?
It is good.
Alright, good.
haven't.
Hasn't seen it yet. But I chose Deadpool. Sorry.
Let's go!
Sorry about that. Yeah. Not really an explanation for that. And then for coaches, I had to go with Professor X. Megamind he's a criminal, I'm sorry. He's going to play basketball dirty. He's going to.
So at the end of the day, the tally ended up 5 points Kruck's team, 2 points to Hard Hittin Hayden. It was still a good fight down the line. It was a good fight. There wasn't any clear cut, runaway matchups through any of them, but it was a good fight. Thank you, Pillow, for
Thank you,
helping
sir.
us in the booth. As always, I know you came all the way down from HQ to be here, and we thank you. We will not be paying for gas back, but we do thank you. And for all of us here at Crunch Time, that's it for now. We'll see you guys next month with another episode. And as always, thank you all for listening.
We're going to have an all-star game between the teams where Jacob's best and my best are on one team against a bunch of NBA stars.
You heard it here, folks. Here we go.